Hey fam, Swati Tukon Pinik here, and it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for a live stream. And this week, we're going to be primarily focusing on this device here, the Ayaneo Pocket DS, my first ever Ayaneo device. And it's definitely taken me a bit of getting used to because it's definitely different than normal. But fear not, even though it's different than the Thor, I was able to figure it out, muddling my way through it to figure it all out for you guys. So if you're thinking about the Pocket DS, is it a good device? Yes, it's obviously a good device. It's one of the most powerful handhelds you can buy and has a fantastic OLED up here. And the LCD screen here is pretty darn good as well, if we're being perfectly honest. Um, is it as easy to use as the Thor because they're both using Android? No, it's definitely not as easy as using that. And you can see my Sinclair ZX Spectrum. And normally I don't say Z, I say Z, just because I like how it sounds as a letter, not as a word. But this was a European device, so out of respect to Europe, aka the UK, I'll call it the ZX. Steam computer that turned into a console for a lot of people in Europe, and I think that's really awesome. Hey, welcome, Ethan. I'm not sure if anyone else is here yet, but this is the first time I started to stream on time, so we should celebrate. I wish I knew how to do like live reactions with confetti and stuff. But nevertheless, I'm here. Um, so as I was saying though, the OLED, obviously there's not really a bad OLED out there, so it is a really good OLED. On the other hand, LCDs can be good or bad. And it's funny because after I got a software update yesterday, the panel, the LCD panel, doesn't look as good as it used to. I see more light bleed and dark scenes. It's not a big deal because you're not in those types of scenes very often, at least in my perspective, but it is still something that you would think that they would have gotten taken care of. I know that there was reports of it before the device was coming out, and I can report after an update for some reason I see it, but before I didn't see it. I currently have it turned off because you can turn them off individually. So feel free to ask your questions, whether it's just Ethan or anyone else currently on. Feel free to ask your questions about this. Now you might be wondering why I have the Helagali Action Pi here, and that's because a while back, before I started doing live streams, after I did the review, a great subscriber had asked me to test out Panzer Dragoon, and I had forgotten about it until today, to be perfectly honest. So I added it to this device so we could test it out at least on here, and we could at least test it out on here also just for fun. Obviously, this is a much less powerful device, but one thing to remember is this has a 4-inch screen, and the Anbernic RGDS will have two 4-inch screens. So basically two of these screens, which again, I think are more than large enough for the average user. So again, if you are worried about the screen size, I understand. But this, I think two 4-inch screens is really good. And on top of that, of course, this has a really good 4:3 IPS display. So hopefully Anbernic's will look just as good. But I was mentioning the RGDS as well because the RGDS has like an updated version of the CPU in this device. So it kind of gives you an idea of what is capable on the RGDS. So Panzer Dragoon on Sega Saturn, not the easiest console to emulate. And Panzer Dragoon is supposed to be one of the harder games to emulate on the Saturn. No, I haven't. It's still sitting in its box. I promise you of all people will be brought aware of when I do. So you can see up here the frame rate. So I messaged you, the user back today that had asked about this a month or so ago when I reviewed this. So is it a full 60 frames per second? No, I don't think it is, but again, we're sitting at around 45, 50. That's not too bad. And as you can see, the frame rate isn't hindering the device. It still looks pretty good overall. Not a lot of stutters or anything like that. One of the nice things with this device is you can come up into the settings and you can configure it. Why is it not showing my thing here? Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, you can see I can come up here and I can configure. Sorry. There we go. Config, and I actually have it set to 1080p. So if we go and change it back down to even 2x, because it wasn't that to begin with. So there we go. We'll go with 2x, and you can enable frame skip if you want to, of course. And now you see whenever we're at 2x native res, now we're at about 54, 55. Moving around. Going back down to 50 a little bit here and there. But I'd say that's pretty good for what it is. And again, remember the RGDS is going to be a little bit more powerful. So again, for a device that you can get on their website, if you're lucky, for 65-ish US dollars plus shipping. And if you look around on AliExpress, you can get it for about 85, which is where I got it. And the only reason I bought it on AliExpress was because at the time they did not ship to Thailand. They do now. So if you're in Thailand and you're interested in this device, you can get the Action Pi and their other devices on their website. So it is a really good budget little device. Again, it is competing right with the Ayaneo Pocket or Pocket Air X, I think it is, and the other device that just came out. Sorry, my mind is going blank. But so this is definitely in consideration for the sub $100 budget device of the year, as well as those devices. And I will be getting those devices. As Ethan mentioned in the live chat, I already have my Air X. I just haven't unboxed it because, well, it's not time yet. And I'm trying to focus on my DS, trying to give it more attention. But coming up next will be my Air X after we finish with the Pocket DS. And then after that will be the Miu Mini Flip. So I'm excited about that. Both still brand new, just released. And then, of course, I will also be getting other devices. So the rest of the year will be pretty much all relatively new devices, which is exciting. And I do want to do, by the end of the year, I might do a week of no devices and just do recaps. Best of 2025 as far as I reviewed. And like I say, I would have best low end budget, which would be 50 or less, or approximately 50 US dollars. Then more entry level budget, shall we say. So that'd be like the next step up. I still have to figure out what the categories would be, but that'd be like under $100, but more than $50 ballpark. And then mid-range, high-end, all of that jizzy jazzy. But Ethan, I don't know if you did order it, but this is the silicone case for the Air X that I ordered. So I got it on AliExpress for like $5. Again, it has kind of a nice little diamond grippy texture on the sides to keep your palms in place in case you get into your games a bit much, which I probably will. So it'll be interesting because, yeah, probably do that, and then I'll probably want to do at least one comparison, maybe the 5.5-inch devices, the Air X, and compare it to the Retroid Pocket 5, because that's been out for a while, but still more powerful, but obviously double the cost against the other 5-inch devices that I've done this year, like the K56 by Guangzhou. I know a lot of people try saying that they get that it's branded from the seller that they bought it from on AliExpress, but that seller just bought it. They didn't do anything to the device. So Guangzhou Sundi Electronics is the real creator of the device. They just sold it to other companies. Like Heligali. Heligali also bought the K56 from them. So again, they didn't do anything to it in either way, but it's still a good device. And if you get it at a good price for about $100 to $105, it's a pretty good deal as far as how capable it is. And that it came with your front ends already, like Pegasus, so you didn't have to worry about that, and as well as Emulation Station Desktop Edition, ESTE. So it was more than capable out of the box, which isn't common for an Android device, because a lot of Android devices are like this that don't come with anything. So that's one thing I do like about Retroid, is Retroid also does give you at least the emulators. They aren't giving you the games, but they're giving you the emulators. So that's the exciting part. So before we get into the testing, shout out to whoever's watching. What are you having to drink tonight or tomorrow, or in the morning if it's your morning? I am having this tumbler that is full of coffee and heavy cream with some MCT oil because I'm keto. So I try to stay low carb if I can. But everyone's different. That's why I'm asking, what are you guys having to drink? All right. So again, let's just kind of go over this device here. We got a nice little 7-inch screen that is 16:9 aspect ratio. And then you have a 5-inch 4:3 aspect ratio. So good for retro games, good for modern games. And we did get some requests for this week. Johnny Gamer 1969. So apparently he liked my rating system. No, I'm just joking, Johnny. But he's asked for a couple N64 games. So we'll probably do 2 of his 3 requests this week. And then we will do 1 next week, since I'll be doing another live stream with this next week. All right, so we'll be doing 2 of the 3 this week: Killer Instinct, Banjo-Kazooie, and Conquer. All right, good. Got a nice Coke. Is that original Coke, Coke Zero, vanilla Coke? Because they have vanilla Coke I showed in a previous stream. What kind of Coke are you having, Ethan? And then we did get another request from J. Pari Siomac, J. Kari Siomac, for Kid Icarus. So I do have Kid Icarus here, so we'll try out Kid Icarus on the NES. And then Ethan did request Star Wars Rogue Squadron, Jet Force Gemini, WWE No Mercy, also on the N64. So we'll do, if it's all right with you, Ethan, we'll do 1 of those this week. So we'll do 3 N64 this week and 3 next week. So let me know which one you want to see me try on that. And then Mauricio and Kipka had requested some games, so we'll try those. Regular Coke. In Australia, does regular Coke have sugar in it, or is it corn syrup? High fructose corn syrup, like it is in North America still at the moment. And then we will try some PSP games and anything else that comes along the way. So I don't know who else is here, but if you are Johnny Gamer 1969 or J. Pari Siomac or Kipka or Mauricio, let me know, and we'll go from there. Just noticed, I thought I had put that on there. Okay, that's all right. Probably have to do that next week, but all right. So now we have this kind of going on right now. So let me bring this up. So if you push the Ayaneo button with their logo there, if you are on single screen mode, then you get this pop-up. If you're on dual screen mode, it changes the bottom screen. Okay, so the nice thing is when you're on the single screen mode, you can change your FPS to whatever you'd like. So you can see here we have auto, 165, 144, 120, 90, and 60. Generally, I would prefer to do it at 120. The reason I like to, if you do 60, then it makes it 120 by adding that frame insertion in to give it like a better black levels and make it look like an old school CRT. So the 120 is generally a better fit for me. Of course, you can do your performance overlays. If you want to do performance overlays, you can do your fan modes, quick and easy. Now you can choose your performance mode. I think it's this button. Let me just see here. I'm going to push it. Yep, see, there you go. So I'm tapping it again. So you can see we get different little overlays whenever you push that button. So we'll go back to eco. Yeah, so yeah, it is that. If I can get it to focus. Focus. There we go. That button there. So we have volume up and down. We have our power button here that is also a fingerprint reader, which is nice. When the screen is off, if you're on like the home screen or playing like a Windows game, streaming a game, this can be your trackpad, which I think is really cool that you can have that trackpad with you at all times. Real sugar, nice. WWE this week, all right. We'll do WWE this week, buddy. So see if I can't get this. There we go. So there's our start button. There's our select button. All right. One thing I kind of like is this is like the Surface Duo 2 where there's no stops. It's just firm at all angles until you get it to 180. And then it stops at 180. It gives you a nice satisfying click. But here, you shake it and it's not wobbling around. Same thing here. It's not wobbling around. It's nice and stiff. I wish someone would design one with the Surface Duo mechanism where you'd have, you know, a little thing here and a little here, for example, and open and close it. I think that would look really sharp rather than having this bar, but that's just me. These are TMR sticks, and you can take them off and put on bigger sticks if you want. Just bear in mind that obviously these sticks are designed for this device, and this screen isn't like the one on the Thor that there's a gap. So if you leave the larger sticks and then you try to close it, you could damage your screen. So you'd have to remember every time you want to close your screen, take them off again, put on your new ones. But it's just pop off, pop on, just like any other. Now there are no RGB lights on here because this is a professional device. So yeah, the D-pad feels nice. It's obviously a more modern D-pad, kind of dips down in the middle, but still feels really good to use. All right, so let's see if whoever's watching, probably be Ethan, but you never know. Can anyone tell me what is this device? I will give you a few seconds to look it at and let me know what is this device. It is a device that came out within the last 2 years. And it is the parent to many handhelds over the last 2 years. Give you a hint, it has a 6-inch screen, an IPS panel, 6 inches. Okay, I'll scroll here while we do that. So I've chosen a different theme this week because I thought, well, why not choose a different one? Even though it's not my favorite one, it's still a pretty interesting one. And that's one of the things I like about ESDE is ESDE allows us to be able to change the look and feel of it as much as we want because there are a lot of themes and then there are a lot of sub themes for it. Now, of course, I chose to have black. You could have a whitish background with black letters, but because I have a nice OLED here, I wanted to show the blacks off, so we're doing it that way. Jaguar CD. Thought for sure you would have guessed already, Ethan. The Atari ST computer. Bandai WonderSwan and the WonderSwan color. Of course, arcade, Capcom arcade machines. If you're not familiar, Capcom actually were huge. Capcom and Sega were the big dogs in arcades in Japan for a long time. So that is why we have 1988 for the System 1, 93 for System 3 or System 2 and 96 for System 3 because they were big. It is the Odin 2, yes. 2 points to Ethan. So I don't know what the points are for, but sure, 2 points to Ethan. So it is definitely an influential device at this point. The Commodore Amiga CD32. And I love that we get the synopsis of even the device. So you can learn some trivia about it. Came out in July of '93. And again, you can see how many games I have on it. Let me see if I can turn that off and still have good results. That's fine. I guess we can turn it off. If you've marked any as favorites, you can, like I say, that is definitely one of the most interesting controllers I have ever seen. Emulators, MSX. They've actually added now, if you download Emulation Station, ESDE, and you tell it to create the folders for you, they've actually created a Windows folder now. So with the Windows folder, you can tell, for example, if you are using GameHub Lite, tell it to download your games there. And when it downloads your games there, then it will appear here, and you can actually launch through ESDE into GameHub Lite directly from here. So that's one of the nice things is, remember, this is a front end. So by front end, it is also able to be your replacement for the main Android operating system. So you don't have to see vanilla Android if you don't want to, because again, you can have all of your standalone emulators here in emulators. You can have your Android games here and your Android apps here. So you can have this boot directly into this, and this is all you would see, unless of course you drag down from the top and do the things you need to do or go into the main settings, all of that jazz, you can do that. But if you ever use like Nova Launcher, this can replace Nova Launcher, this can replace the Android launcher. So it's really cool that they've done this, because once you get GameHub set up and it linked to download games automatically to the right place, and you get everything that you want, you can do that. And they've even added PS3. Now, fair warning, the emulator for PS3 that they're using for this, APS3 X, I think it is not as good as the kind of bread and butter for most people that try to do 3D emulation. But they're both forks of the same emulator that has stopped being created for. So I have full faith that they'll get better, especially now that they know that they'll be available on more devices. APS3 will probably work and get themselves to be better. They're just not as good as RPCSX. That's the one I was thinking of, RPCSX. So sadly, you can't do standalone RPCSX, but you can do standalone APS3. I can't get any game to launch with it yet. Maybe it's just me, but I can't. But again, I kind of like how this, because it was part of the HD era, you get an LCD, versus here it was still part of the 4.3, the CRT type of generation, so the PS2 is that way. Hey, Brainbeaked, welcome. So I like being able to see the consoles. Gives me nostalgia. Here's that Sinclair ZX Spectrum. That was, like, say, you had the keyboard and everything. Was a proper computer in Europe that was really popular. And I have a ton of their games. So because it was a computer, they did not have the same type of licensing that Nintendo did. So anybody could create a game for the ZX Spectrum. So it's an interesting little device. And one thing that I did do this week is, so you see Sega Mega Drive 32X, Sega Mega Drive, and then Sega Mega Drive, and then the Sega Genesis. The reason for that is because Sega Genesis was what it was sold as in North America, because Mega Drive was already trademarked in North America. And then I have two Mega Drives because there's a different the Mega Drive for Japan versus Mega Drive for Europe. So, for example, one will only have the Japanese ROMs. And I guess I can go ahead and show you how this one looks. You get the synopsis of the game up here, get the video down here, box art. So I think it looks really sharp like this. It pulled the American because I asked it to pull the American box art, but this is the European Aero Acrobat 2. So that's the European one. And then the Japanese one, you can tell that's the Japanese one. Look at that box art. What is that? Aha Hambarananda. A sumo game. Versus the Genesis is only games that were American or they were worldwide releases. It was the worldwide ROM. American Gladiators. Did you guys get that in Oz, the American Gladiator show? You can kind of see the video there. That was like one of the events where you'd try to beat the gladiator to be the champion of the show, and they always had like male and female contestants. Okay, so let's go back. So I did that with Sega for the ones that were the same or for different. And then I also did that for Nintendo. So we have the Super Nintendo. You can tell this is the American version because you have just the two buttons, two colored buttons on the controller there. You have that versus the European version had Skittles buttons. The original Skittles buttons was on the SNES Europe. And then the SNES Japan. But of course, it wasn't the SNES, it was the Super Famicom or the Super Family Computer. But I think Famicom and Super Famicom sound better than Super Family Computer and Family Computer. So I did do the same thing for, yeah, see, there you go. One of the interesting things is the original Japanese console, the NES of Japan, the Famicom, the controllers were actually hardwired to the console. So you couldn't unplug them and plug them back in. You had to use, they were permanently connected to the device. And then, of course, the Nintendo that I grew up with, that was the same in Europe as well, the NES. Okay. So, oh, that's too bad that it flopped. The remake flopped. That was kind of fun. And with the Ninja Warrior series being really popular around the world, I figured that that would have been able to do really well, but maybe it just didn't resonate as well in the land down under. All right, so as I mentioned, I still have the screen off, so let's go ahead and turn it back on. So dual screen, okay, and then we want to turn on both screens. So first off, one of the things that threw me off, and I'm just going to minimize this here. I chose a Retroid background here, but it was frustrating me because I got the Thor to work on DS and 3DS super quick. I got it working before Russ at Retro Game Core created his content about how to get it to work. So it wasn't a big deal. It was nice and easy. Trying it on this guy though, I couldn't figure it out to save my life. Let me see. Do we need? No, that's way too bright. And what about you? You good or too bright? No, there we go. That looks better on camera. So, for example, I have Azahar right here, Azahar DS version that I got from Obtainium. So if you get a two-screen device like the Thor or the DS, I would recommend using Obtainium to get your games. And even if you get the RP5, RP6, or the RPG2, I would delete the ROMs they include on it and get Obtainium. So when you get Obtainium, it's empty. But then on their GitHub, they have two different JSON files that you can get. You can get one for DS devices, like this, and then you get one that has then you have ones that has all of the other emulators on it. So Citra MMJ, Dolphin, DuckStation, Eden, Flycast, Nether SX, 2 Patch, PPSSPP, RetroArch, RPCSX. The nice thing about having this, again, if you're not familiar with this, is this acts like the Google Play Store. By that I mean, if you're familiar with the Google Play Store or the App Store, you can set it to automatically update your apps. So whenever an update comes available, it just updates the updated version of the app. So this will do the same thing for you. Whereas, for example, RetroArch, PPS, SPP will not update themselves if there's a new update to the apps. So you could be sitting with an old version. Something that's under a lot of development today, RPCSX for PS3, they're updating it quite frequently. So it's in your best interest to have it be able to update automatically. So that's where Obtainium is really helpful. And even if you're not using a dual screen device, again, you just don't need to do the JSON for the DSs, but you can import that JSON. So again, you just download the JSON from their GitHub, and then if you want to do it manual, you can do it that way, but you do import export and then Obtainium import, and then you just find your JSON, click it, and then boop, and everything's loaded. So for me, for my money, I would recommend, again, even if you get a device with them like the Air X, Ethan, I would look at possibly getting this and checking out what console or what emulators it has available and deleting the ones that came on your Air X and then putting them and having it download from here. So that way you always know you have the most up-to-date version of the emulators. They make it super easy. Same thing, for example, Vita 3K. Vita 3K is kind of a pain in the butt, but you can get it to work. And again, for two front ends, Daijisho and Pegasus, you can do it that way. Because those are free, they're not going to include the, now you could do the add if you could ask them for like a permanent link. I don't know how it would work for ESDE, since usually they're going to give you a different link each time that they're updated. But the idea is all of these, you could do that. ESDE, no, because it's a paid app, because they're updating that quite frequently. But again, you can get GameHub Lite, Game Native. That's the other Windows or application that you can get your Steam library from. And as long as you set it to the Windows folder in the ROM folder, then when you load ESDE, it'll pull those games and you can launch those Steam games directly from ESDE. Again, Artemis, Moonlight, if you want to do proper PC games, you can do that from your computer. And like, for example, ESDE Android apps, that's no longer really needed because the new version already includes it. But, you know, I still have it because I haven't deleted it yet. And SyncThing Fork. So I don't use it, but some people that have multiple devices, they really love to use SyncThing. Just as it sounds, it'll sync all of your games once you log in. So if you load Super Mario Brothers World on SNES for the first time on a new device, but you've logged into SyncThing first, it'll say, hey, wait, there's a new version of Super Mario World you're halfway through. Here's the last place you stopped. So there you go. Yes, GameHub. This is GameHub Lite. The difference is GameHub Lite, they take out all of the extra permissions that GameSir asks for. So for example, GameSir asks for your precise location. Why do they need your precise location for you to be able to play games? So a guy takes GameHub, makes it open source basically, and extracts out all of the unnecessary permissions that GameHub asks for, like you to log in and create an account to be able to use it. Takes that out. You still have to log in, obviously, to your Steam account, but for GameHub itself, you have to create an account. With GameHub Lite, you don't. So that's why they do GameHub Lite, because it's taken out all of that extra extraneous information that GameSir is asking. So again, if you're okay with giving them all the information, by all means, you can use it and it'd be just fine. Some people don't want to. So that's why they chose to include the GameHub Lite. They might have done it because they saw how quickly popular GameHub Lite became. But for now, like say, GameHub Lite is integrated into ESDE as well, so you can put your games into Windows folders, and if they're scheduled to open from GameHub Lite, it can launch from ESDE and launch GameHub Lite for you and open the game without you doing anything else, whereas GameHub itself is not. They might do that in the future as well. ESDE's, like say, working on the Android version feverishly, which is why version 3.4.0 was just released. But GameHub Lite and Game Native launched directly from ESDE. So again, if you're using ESDE as your front-end launcher, so this is the only thing, ESDE is the only thing you see on your device normally, that'd be the better way to go. But anyhow, so again, I'm just trying to help those that are uninitiated to know how to get a bunch of emulators, how to keep them up to date. So Obtainium, just Google Obtainium Android APK or Obtainium APK, and you can go to their GitHub account. It's open source, so you can see where they're getting everything and see all the back-end bits and bobs. Yeah, I haven't tried it on a phone. I've tried Game Native on my phone because I have a foldable phone. So I did try it on my Vivo X Fold 3 Pro, but I haven't tried it. I've just tried the light version on here. All right, so there's APS3, the one that's linked to it. There is GameHub, and then there's the PS2 emulators. I need to clean this up a bit. The nice thing is this device, like the Thor, out of the box includes the app drawer, which Ethan and I are extremely familiar with Chinese phones, with Chinese ROMs, and usually the Chinese Android ROMs don't give you an app drawer and don't give you the Google Play Store out of the box. This comes with the Google Play Store out of the box and gives you the app drawer out of the box, no settings to change or anything, or even to select. It's just there. So it's like they make it for the Western mind from the beginning, so that's really awesome. But again, full Google, so have Gmail and YouTube and all of that jazz on here. I could get Netflix on here too. I just haven't. There's the Vita app. I'll go over that here in a bit because again, it is quite interesting. I might even download the other version of this just so I can start from the beginning to show you guys either this video or the next video. Because again, these live streams are one about testing the apps, but also my videos aren't normally about teaching about the devices. So this gives me a chance to be able to talk to you about the devices and show you things. So again, it gives kind of a unique purpose to each style of video. The unboxing first impressions video versus the reviews, two different purposes, even though you're still looking at the device. In this one, you're still looking at the device, but you're getting more of the behind the scenes stuff that if you're new to the hobby, or maybe you've only ever used a Linux-based device, and now you're going for Android, gives you some information to get going. So the live streams can be beneficial in that way. This seems like a couch-only device. In a way, yes. In a way, no. I mean, I took this yesterday. The wife and I went out for a little excursion yesterday. And now, at first, it was giving me a bit of an issue. After they released an update, for some reason, there's two controller modes for this, the Ayaneo controller mode and the Xbox controller mode. And the Ayaneo controller mode was working fine before the update. Then they pushed out the update, and the Ayaneo controller mode was all sorts of cattywampus. Anytime I'd be on a screen, it would immediately try scrolling down to the bottom and would not let me scroll back up. Like I'd scroll up a little bit and force its way back down. And it would only recognize 1 in like 10 button presses. So it was becoming really frustrating, and I was really scared that my device was broken. But finally, I got it switched to Xbox gamepad mode, and it worked. So, hey, I mean, you know as well as I do, Vivo may not be as well known in the West, Ethan, but they do make really good phones. Their hardware is really great. So, I'm not sad I'm using my X Fold 3 Pro. Luckily, the jump to the X Fold 5 wasn't a huge one, so I don't feel like I have any FOMO, but we'll see about whenever the X Fold 6 comes out next year, what they've done. All right, so first thing, I want to get to dual screen games because as I mentioned, dual screen games, I had a bit of a quandary and I couldn't figure it out. And I was digging in, and then even I went through the guides by Russ. And Russ, if somehow, some reason you watch this one, thanks. You're one of the reasons I started to fall in love with this scene and wanted to get into be able to make videos. Obviously, do different videos than you do, but you do fantastic work, and your history of writing cookbooks is evident because you are an awesome writer, awesome author. Make your guides easy to follow, and your videos are easy to follow. But let me just go over here. 4 elements, for example. I launch, and I'm like, okay, this screen is working. What's going on? And then I'm thinking, okay, dual screen. Maybe I need to turn off the screen and maybe it just magically turns on. No, that didn't work. I'm getting some good FPS though. But that's not it. All right, maybe if I go to the, your window's not working. Okay, that's fine. Maybe I need to look at tasks. Do I need to close anything? No. Application? Maybe something, I don't know. So I was trying to figure it out and I couldn't figure it out. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does have desktop mode because it is a Linux device, right? So it just has its own home screen on the top. So, but as you can see here, I was looking through my apps, and again, I think it's too bright. Let me see if I can turn it down again. Yeah, it is. Turn that down. Up a little. And again, I really miss on the Thor being able to turn up and down the brightness on both screens at the same time. That's all right. So I'm like, what in the world's going on? Let me bring up Russ's written guide. So I click on that and it's still not working. And I'm like, huh. So I go in and I try to change things up again. And then I go back to Azahar, see if I can't get it to open here. And it's still not working. I'm like, well, so I was like, what is going on? And then like, so I was like, maybe I need to get rid of this. And I was like, I don't know. Let's close that out. Okay. And then go back here and Azahar. And then Azahar pops down here. I'm like, oh, that's not what I wanted. So Azahar. And this is the frustrating thing is sometimes I do this. I open another application like a web browser and it opens on the second screen. Not always. It's very inconsistent, even after their updates. So we'll do that. All right, so Azahar. Let's just see if I open Daijisho. Okay. Yeah, see, now it's not wanting to do it. Yesterday I did it like 10 times in a row, open a web browser, and it would open up the second screen. All right, let's just try Melon. For a regular DS. All right, let's do 7 Wonders of the World. Okay, Melon's wanting to work. And again, that's throwing me off because this is dimmer than this one, but that's all right. But then I accidentally toggled it, and I'm like, what did I just do? I don't know. Let me see if I can't make it a little bit darker, a little bit brighter. It's about the same there. It's like, what did I do? And now it's working on DS, and I'm like, huh. Well, the Thor does use mainline. They just have modded it a bit, just like the Surface Duo 2 used mainline Android, didn't fork it off. It's just they trick to the device how it works. So, but by native, it just works so much more seamlessly than this. And Dominic, he's good. I believe right now there's a famous ice cream shop that, of course, they say that they're American, so ties go there, called Swenson's. And so she took him and her sister to have Swenson's ice cream earlier. So I'm sure he's wound up like a spinning top. Yeah. Yes, the DS pictures are big. But see, now that I've opened Melon DS, now Azahar is opening on both screens. But only because I have a browser open. If I don't, or another application open like a browser. If I don't, then it's not going to. It's very, very strange. Let me see if I can't turn this on and then maybe flip it over here, maybe. Oops, oh, that's not what I wanted. I just want to give a different angle of light, maybe. Sorry about that. Shirt pulling up there. All right. I'm not sure if that's much better, but and then why is 4 elements frozen? I don't know. Let's try that again. Let's try my new favorite 3DS game, Garfield Kart. And now see it's not opening again. All right, so okay. Okay. All right, Melon. Still have my browser open here. All right, are you smarter than a 5th grader again? Sorry, I washed my hands before, but apparently my hands are still. I didn't mean to do that, but that's all right. Melon. Again, not there, but then it's there. Some nice big DS screens, as Brainbeat said. Yeah, you're not going to find much bigger DS screens. All right, so we'll leave that. It's working fine like 10 times in a row yesterday for me, but now it wants to tease me. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can get Simu to work. Yeah, there we go. So I can get it to display the TV screen up here and the Wii U pad screen down here. Works like a charm usually. Of course, wanting to take its time, and on a live stream, it feels weird to be waiting like this, but that's all right. Again, yesterday I tried this like 4 times in the car coming back from our little excursion. Worked flawlessly. But does it want to work flawlessly now? No. Okay. Why is it not giving my other screen? Okay. You can tell the 3DS version of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader is much cleaner. But why is it not opening? Let me just try that. All right. Try folder one. Okay, application. Close that. "50 classic games. Can you give me another screen?" See, this is what I mean. The Thorpe, I just had this issue one time. This one wants to give me all kinds of issues. So let's imagine I'm browsing the web, checking out Russ's article again, because I had it down here. Sahar, why are you being so strange? Actually, the funny thing is Melon DS was a little frustrating yesterday, but I got it to work, and it's now at least consistently still working. Let's go back to Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And now this one doesn't want to load up. Let me just try turn off the light. See how it works. Does that look better? A little bit. You can see more fingerprints, of course, but again, sorry. Literally 5 minutes beforehand, I washed my hands, and apparently that didn't help a lot. All right, so why is it doing this now? Oh, okay. So see, I just picked a random another app, and now it works. So why? I have no idea. But it is working. I just, of course, have the volume turned off. But
on the board, you're going to see 10 subjects. They range from the 1st grade through the 5th grade.
Okay, great. So we can get it to work. It's just kind of a pain. Let's just go over here. Since this is royalty-free music, let's just try it. Crab Brave. Sneak picture looks good. If you've ever watched Linus, and I know you have Brain Beat, you've seen Crab Rave on some of their devices. The thing about Xbox is it's not on Android. So I haven't tried it on Android, and I don't have any ROMs for Xbox. I mean, my computer should be able to handle it no issue, because it has an RTX 4090 in it. And I have 32 gigs of soldered in RAM and a 2 terabyte SSD, so it should be able to handle it without any issue. But I don't have any ROMs for Xbox, so I haven't tried it yet. All right, so Ethan wanted to see, we'll have to wait for this to load back up, of course, some WWE. So we'll try WWE first and foremost, WWE No Mercy. So we can see how horrible I can do in that. And Brainbeat, if you have a request for tonight, I'd be happy to take your request tonight, as well as anyone else that's watching. Looks like at least one other person is there, even though you're not talking. I'd love to hear if you have any requests for tonight as well. I would imagine so. If you download ESDE onto your PC and have it create the folders for you, then it'll include the Xbox, or even on your Steam Deck too. It'll include the Xbox folder, and then there'll be a note in it that you can open up, and it'll tell you what extensions you need. Probably be an ISO, but I haven't checked. Ah, nice coffee. Ethan, speaking of the cute fella, Dominic, he has learned to go, and he just gets a kick out of whenever we copy him. So he'll be like, and then if I or Joe go, he's like, he just starts giggling, rolling around in bed or wherever he is. He'll just drop down and start giggling. So cute. But yeah, Brainbeat, it's not the folder isn't on Android because there are no Xbox emulators on Android, so they don't even bother including that folder. But like say on your Steam Deck or on your PC, ESDE will have it. I forget what because you don't actually download ESDE as ESDE. I forget what it's called. I have it on my my ROG Ally X, since I have SteamOS, official SteamOS on my ROG Ally X, so I just forget. Yeah, so literally for like 5 minutes last night, I was like, he's like, and then and just back and forth for like 5 minutes, watching him rolling around in bed. Super cute. Darn 21-month-old babies are super adorable. I guess he's basically a toddler now, but you know, he'll still be my baby for quite a while. All right. Nintendo 64. To steal Dominic's words. All right, we want some WWF. No mercy. Can you smell what Ethan is cooking? Or if you prefer the full on, can you smell what Ethan is cooking? So if you didn't see what I did there, it had the virtual pad on it. So there's just an arrow pointing up. So I tap it so it goes away. Again, there's obviously no bass in this thing, but it still sounds pretty good. All right. Well, I mean, if you want to request a game before you go, and if it's already on the console, I'll play it tonight. If not, I'll play it next week. And if I play it tonight, I'll let you know, and you can watch the live stream to pick up on it. Which one you want, Ethan? Raw as War, No Mercy, SmackDown, King of the Ring, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble, or WrestleMania? Oops. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Did I just close it back soon? I think I did. That's all right. Give Ethan a chance to consider what venue he wants to see me try to lose. SmackDown? All right. The house that Rock built? Gotcha. Let me just see if I can't spin it around the other way then. Whoa. Whoa. That's not what I meant to do. Hang on. Sorry about the spinning here. Well, hold on one second here. Just set this down for a second. Just have to remember my stand here just decided to have fun with me. Now I'm trying to remember how to get this guy to go where it's supposed to go. Oh boy. Apologize about the technical difficulties here. I'm hoping to get this resolved here in a minute. I can only remember exactly how this went on previously. Let's just see if I can't at least hold it there for tonight. No. Wants to pop up. All right, give me one more second here. I apologize. Technical difficulties. Dee-doo-dee-doo-dee. So like this. I think it might have been like that. All right. I think I remember. Let's see how well I remember. Just take me a second to test out my theory of memory. Oh, no. I think I got the two mixed up here. I think I remember the other way. I don't have the instructions for my key anymore. Believe it or not, we bought more expensive ones from professional, like photography places and whatnot, and we like this one from IKEA better. But I don't have the instruction manual. And the stand just wanted to take a break, shall we say. Yes, I think that's it. All right, I think I got it. Welcome back. All right. Okay, yeah, I mean, we can give it a try. And then next week I can try to bring it, the Thor in to see just how comparable it is. All right, so we got SmackDown. Sure, let's try that. Well, since we're going on here, will be The Rock versus Mr. Jericho. I remember that countdown. You'd be too young, Ethan, but I remember that countdown happening live, and everybody's like, "What is that countdown for?" Nobody had any idea that Jericho was coming to WWE. Oops, I need to do that again. Did I restart it? Oh, I think I restarted it. Dang it. That's my own fault. I'll give you that. Because I'm trying to get my bottom screen to function the way I want it to as well, but it does work flawlessly. Force close it. Okay, start. Let me just see here. A little better. A little bit better. Not the best still. I think it might be better. All right. So it's going to be a singles match. There we go. SmackDown. We'll go with that. And The Rock versus The Rock. Why not? I'll be shirtless Rock. Skins versus. Okay. Yeah, I wonder who's going to win. Is it going to be The Rock or? The Rock is probably the most loved heel of all time. Like, he's such a heel that he's a fan favorite. So I'm trying to figure out these buttons. Oh, got the old family jewels. Still don't know half the stuff I'm trying to do here. Oh, got me in the jewels again. Oh no. Triple H, go away. I forgot that he used to have shirts that even said the game on it. Ah. So I think probably gonna get beat here. So after all, I get some fun interference here by Triple H. Hunter Hearst Helmsley. But on a 7-inch OLED, it looks really good, Ethan. I don't know if it's coming through on camera, but it's actually running smooth on my end. I think on the camera it might look a little jittery, but it's looking really smooth on my end. Ooh. It's definitely different not playing on an N64 controller because I can't for the life of me figure out what I'm doing here. Uh-oh, rock bottom. He's gonna give me the people's elbow. Oh, yay, all right. Come on, Benoit. Protect me, man. Don't. Let me taunt him up a bit. It's next to impossible when you get this interference going. So I'm going to stop here because it's going to take me forever to do anything else. I can't imagine winning this match at the moment. So there's that. All right, and then we want Nintendo, and I did double check. Should be on the North American European version. Let's see here. Just a few games. Kid Icarus. If you have the physical cartridge for this, it's one of the most expensive games you can get. $1986. So unless this game came out right after Christmas, I would have only been 2 years old when this game was first released. And Ethan would have been like negative 12. No, I think probably negative 14 or 16. Yeah, probably 17 even. Start. Oops. Not sure what I'm doing there. So, maybe it's just me, but it looks like Kid Icarus is like a Cupid. Looks like Cupid. Oh, that wasn't very nice. Ah. Oh, I died. Well, I'm finished. There we go. There's Kid Icarus, as requested by Piparicio Mac. All right, and let's try Johnny Gamer 1969's request. Let's do something cute. Let's do Conquer, I guess. Now, I know I don't have to do that. I believe I have it saved the right way. Let's just try my theory. Conquer's Bad Fur Day. Let's see. I believe I have it set up for start and select at the same time to close it. But proof is in the pudding. So let's let it load for a minute. For mature audiences only. See if I push both. Yep, see that exits right back. So yeah, I didn't have to do that, but you know, that's all right. Conquer's Bad Fur Day. -1 or -15. What did I get -15 for? Starring Conquer and Barry. It's one of those that you have to watch, I guess. You know, like what if I said quit? I'm afraid to say quit, so we won't say quit. Let's just try it quick. What's the worst that can happen? Go back to the start screen? Yeah, apparently. Okay, now remember, I am in eco mode. Let's put it to balance mode. See, and you can see on this, just on Conkers, I have 16 gigabytes and I'm using more than 8 gigabytes right now. Again, that's why I would always recommend at least a 12 gigabyte version if you're going to try doing more higher end stuff, even though N64 is not really all that high end. But unless it's a device that has optimized its RAM, I would recommend having like the Retroid Pocket 5. Gets really close to sometimes bottlenecking just because of the RAM, because they only give the 8 gigs, which is why I'm glad with the RP6 that they're giving us the option of either 8 gig or 12 gig. I, of course, ordered the 12 gig, and should come as no surprise, I ordered the 12 gig with the D-pad up top and analog stick down below because I'm a PlayStation guy and I like my parallel sticks if I'm going to do sticks, and I like my D-pad and face buttons up top if I'm going to do them. But again, I'm glad that they're giving us that option. Continue. Come on. This cutscene taking forever. So Ethan, what did I get minus 15 on? Hi. This thing's taking forever. Forever. I don't know why I need to watch so much. You can tell this is a product of the 90s. Can't even skip over this with, is this a bunny doing yoga? Or is Barry some kind of bunny, like related to Bugs Bunny? And look at that old school phone. Oh, oh, did somebody slip conquer a Mickey? That's the American term for a special substance that no person should ever use. Which really confuses Canadians because Mickey to Canadians is, what would it be, like I think 400 or 500 milliliter glass bottle of liquor. Man, they make you watch so much before you can even get going. Conker's looking like he's had a few too many to drink. Nice, nasty. So the face buttons are a little clicky, not as bad as the Odin 2 portals. Overall, the buttons do feel good on it. I can't deny that. The flat kind of gives it a PlayStation type vibe. Why do I have to watch so many cutscenes? Well, we're sticking around 45 to 50 some FPS. Let's see if we change the mode, it stays the same. Streaming, gaming. It's about the same, honestly. Max mode. Ooh, kick on the fan. Will that make any difference? Just makes it louder. Sounds like a weak hairdryer. Let's go back to slower mode, to eco mode. What if I go in the water for full conquer? I mean, for an N64 game, no, it doesn't look too bad. I go against current here. I hate inverted controls. Apparently it doesn't want me to go over there. So, yes, you can play Conker's Bad Fur Day on this. Like I say, I'm getting about 50 FPS regardless of what gaming mode I'm in. Shadow seems a little inconsistent, but I can't say how it looks natively without playing it first. But yeah, for an N64 game, can I still carrot? Not too bad. All right, we'll close both at the same time. There we go. So there you go, Johnny. Let's try PSP. Actually, let's just try PPSPP. What was it? This is PP. All right, so let's just set it up, shall we? Get. All right. Load. Been a while since I set one up here. Settings. Memory stick folder. Sure, you can go there. Wasn't thinking about starting this today, but that's all right. PSP. Let's do 4X to start with. Why not, right? Sounds like there's an unhappy baby over there. I don't think he wants to go to bed yet. Disk onto my 1 terabyte card. PSP. All right. So let's look at God of War. Again, we'll be in eco mode. No data, of course. Normal. Let's say at 4x looks pretty darn good.
Of Sparta had pledged himself as a champion to the gods of Olympus. In return, he hoped only to rid himself.
Let me skip ahead.
His only
All right, so let's just see here. Settings and brain beat. God of War. Oh, on PS2. I guess I could go there. All right, so PSP, it looks like 4x, no problem. I think I have it on PS2 as well. Let's see here. God of War. Okay. I thought I'd already played PlayStation 2 on here, but that's why everything else is there. But that's all right. Let's get everything going. Controller settings. Touchscreen view, good. Shock. Automatic mapping, good. All right, app settings, graphics, Vulkan. That's just for giggles. Let's do 8 times. See if we can handle 8 times. Well, natively they feel better because you have the ergonomic grips on this versus the door was flat on the back. So natively I can single hand it pretty easily. Okay, let's try changing our mode. Set it to balance, I'm getting 50. So yeah, 45 to
And Kratos cast himself from the highest mountain in all of Greece. After 10 years of suffering, 10 years of endless
did
nightmare,
I
he could finally
set it to fast?
death would be his escape from madness. But it had not always been the same. Kratos had once been a champion of the gods.
Back to stream. So I wouldn't consider 8 times to be playable. Just too stuttery and too slow. So let's change that. Graphics. Let's go back to something that makes sense on this device. And let's do 1080p 2.5 times. Because then, why do you need more than that? I'm not sure. I have it on fast forward somehow, I think. Set it to balanced. Did I trigger fast forward by some way? Way too fast. Okay, so that's how I bring that up. That's not what I want to do either. Yeah, you can definitely run fast forward. I'm doing 133 frames per second. You can see it. I don't think you can see up here, but I just need to figure out how to slow down this boy. How did I put it into fast forward? See, I have everything up here to anisotropic filtering, 16x, ultra blending accuracy, texture preloading, full hardware download mode accurate, force fold screen if available, widescreen patches if available, no non-interlacing if available. Okay, let's see here. Has to be some I'm not seeing any way. Hmm. Let me see game speed. Maybe it'll tell us. So crazy. I'm trying to figure out why am I going so fast? Hmm. Telling you, going this fast though is not actually fun. 237. I don't want to go 237 times speed. Sounds like it'd be fun, but it's not. Multi-thread, instant. Okay, let's try enable frame limit. Okay, that's better. Nice steady 60. I'm trying, but it's not recognizing it. Let me go back to my controller. Okay, run automatic. Why won't it recognize my R2? I don't know. It's not recognizing my R2. Why are you not accepting that binding? Okay. This is very, very strange. Unless let me just try something here. Let me just try turning off the screen. Maybe that'll help. I don't know, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And now it's way, way too dark. Let's get that screen brightened up. At least a little bit. Okay. Still think that's awfully dark. Okay, I don't know why it's saying that is as bright as it goes, but I did get it to work there for a minute. So let's see here. Go ahead and go again. Starting all over. But yeah, so we could, the audio just wasn't that good. For some reason, having the second screen on wasn't recognizing, but then it worked properly whenever I turned off that screen. This is kind of what I mean. Like, it's really strange. They pushed a firmware update and it hasn't worked normally since the update. The controls themselves, I like the Thor's controls overall a bit better. I love the ergonomic grip that this includes natively, and I love the shoulder buttons here more. They just kind of curve to the finger a bit more. Thor had a good R1, L1, but R2, L2, not so curvy. So this feels more comfortable. And the stick caps are a little bit more, have like a rubbery texture on the outsides. So it just feels better to play with the analog sticks on the Thor. TMR is a better technology because the Thor doesn't use TMR. I might be able to use my Thor sticks on here. I haven't tried. That would be an interesting attempt. D-pad, I'd say similar because they're both good D-pads. But, and I do like having the fingerprint reader. I do like having that. But they just came with way too many buttons. Like Thor has the button that's listed as the AYN, but it's really the TCC, the Thor Command Center button. You can push there in the middle, volume up and down. On the front here, where this is blank, you have your volume rocker and your power button. Just all super easy right there, whereas this, like, you have your power button here. So yeah, there's just some oddities with this Ayaneo. It's not a bad device, feels good to play. As far, again, the one caveat is if you're trying to play D-pad on the left, analog on the right, and then trying to get up to the sticks, feels a bit awkward. You can, but you definitely don't want to have shorter fingers. Like you can see, like whenever I do that, my thumbs are already up and my fingers are extended about as far as you'd want them to be. They're like hugging the machine on both sides. There's no like wiggle room, which is good in that regard, but then the thumb gets a little cramped if, like I say, I'm trying to use the right stick and use the D-pad. The Thor feels a little bit better in that regard, but the grips on this feel better. So it's kind of pros and cons to both. I natively, like say, just the immediate feel, this feels better just because you can get that grip, kind of clinch and talk to somebody else, you know, and it's not going anywhere. Whereas the Thor, it's flat on the bottom. So it's a little bit harder to do this without any additional accessory. Speaking of accessories, I'm still debating whether I do an accessories video because there's only a couple that I have for this. Or if I do an accessories plus detailed first impressions, where I kind of do it like a live stream where I test out different games, different game consoles at like maybe 5-minute increments, try an NES game, an SNES game on up. Or work my way down, PS3, sorry about that, if that popped in sound-wise, accidentally hit the mic. PS3, GameCube, or a secret console, gotta love the secret console. And then work our way down GameCube, PS2, and then work our way down again PS1 and Wii. Really, I guess Wii would be before PS1, but you know what I mean. So I thought about that too. But either way, I've got to record it tomorrow. Or do I do a long-term review of the Odin 2 Portal now that I've had a chance to play with these two beasts, these two clamshell devices? Obviously, I can't compare it to this yet because I won't until next Friday know what my review is, but I at least have first impressions. and obviously the Odin 2 portal. Easier to use than this, and easier to use than the Thor because you only have one screen. Not as easy to use as the RP6 because the RP6 does come with some emulators. Not as easy as a Linux-based device, obviously. But for a bare bones Android, it's pretty good. Just the clicky buttons are the only thing that I've ever complained about the Thor. Speakers are great. So those are my initial thoughts, at least. I guess we're coming up on 2 hours. And like I say, today is the first time I started right on time. It was still 7 o'clock on the dot when I started the stream. I think I figured out all my bugaboos because, for example, my Digi mic, I have to connect it to my phone for recording a video, but then I have to connect it to the computer for the live stream. So I have to turn it off the phone or unpair it from the phone when I want to do a live stream, and then I have to disassociate it for some reason every single time with my OBS streaming software, and then reassociate it and it works. The phone, I have to open an application and turn on my phone in debugging mode, USB debugging mode, and then it will let me stream like today with no issues. But if I don't do that, if I don't put it in USB debugging mode, if I don't turn on that app before I plug in the USB port cable, then it won't work. And that's what's caused me to be late the last couple of times, is trying to figure out which one of those two things wasn't the way it was supposed to be, either the audio or the video. So I think I've got it good going forward. And man, those extra fingerprints. My apologies. What do you think of the Ayaneo provided wallpaper there? Going for like a NES style theme there, where it's the sunset with the sky changing colors, and you can see the reflection of the sun with, it almost looks like two Super Mario stars of different colors dancing around. Probably next week I'll probably have the Phoenix on here again. I kind of like having my logo on the device. Not to toot my own horn, I just like how it looks. I don't know, I work with it every day and I still like it. But yeah. So I guess you'll find out Friday whether I went with the long-term review or I went with the few accessories that I got for it, because I got every accessory that I could get for it and one extra from Ayaneo. Obviously, I haven't yet, well, I don't know why I'd say obviously, I haven't yet checked AliExpress or my buddies over at Etsy, like Sakura. Sakura's done some great things with the Thor. So if you want PlayStation buttons and you want a little gold-colored Sony sticker here and make it look like a black PlayStation, like a PS2 almost, you could. Or if you want to, you could do Super Nintendo if you have the gray color like this. So Sakura's doing some cool stuff. Obviously, like say, these sticks you can pop off and pop on other ones. Just you have to remember to pop them off and pop them back, put on the original ones if you're going to close it up. I do like that this Ayaneo logo is like surface level. It's not something, I don't know if you can hear that. There's no, it's like embedded into the aluminum lid. It's not like a sticker that peels off, so that's nice. But I haven't checked to see what they've done for this yet. Historically, Ayaneo is not supported by the accessory mod community like AYN is, or Anbernic are. Anbernic and AYN and Retroid have the best following when it comes to the the modding community, the aftermarket modding community. Because Ayaneo has always made expensive devices. Think about it. This is a 630 US dollar device. It's a nice device, but $630, and this is a cheap Ayaneo device. Ayaneo usually for like their lower end stuff, like they had a little NES, I forget what they called it, but it was like $180, and it had like a small 3-inch or smaller screen, or you know, it's like, what in the world? And then they have other devices that cost over $1,000. So for $630 for their limited edition gray one, because I wanted the PlayStation feelsies, and I get it with this. Don't get me wrong. I look at this and it brings me back to getting that PlayStation Christmas 1998. After my dad fooled me into thinking that I was only getting Metal Gear Solid as a game, and that I'd have to go over to my sister's house to play it with her husband. So, Dad, if you watch this, thanks. I still vividly remember you going back to your room and be like, oh, look, I forgot something. And you brought out another wrapped gift, and it was the PS1 that I had been asking for. So I thank you for that. But yeah, so it does give me the absolute feelsies for this. So I'm glad that I have it. Still, next week I have no idea what I'm going to rate it yet. But ease of use, I gave, I believe, a 45 to the Thor. I cannot give ease of use a 45 on this. This is going to have to be a 40, a 38, which I hate to say it because Ayaneo, the hardware is great. Most of the software is great. I think you can fix it. You just need to go over to AYN Thor and steal some of their homework. Well, not steal it. Let's just say copy their homework. You know. And for this device, I have not had any issues with the controller. Other than after the update, for some reason, like I say, this is strange. You saw how dark it was, and now it's super bright. Turn that down. There we go. So other than the controls having that initial issue after the update, so it wasn't when I opened it, it was after I opened it. I played around with it for a bit, and then, like say, did a firmware update, and then I went out with my wife yesterday, came back, or while we were out, it just was pushing everything down, and it wouldn't recognize up, and if it did, it would only like go up a quarter of the screen and then back down. And I couldn't get it until I pushed the Ayaneo button multiple times until I got that to pop open, and then I was able to quickly get it to finally recognize, switch to Xbox controller, and it normalized. Why it did that, I have no idea. But in between then, I went to have dinner. Yesterday was Joe and I's 3rd year anniversary. So we had Japanese charcoal grill, and it was great. All you can eat for like $20 US. And it had some Wagyu beef and everything. It was fantastic. But I digress. For some reason, while it was stuck in the Ayaneo controller mode instead of the Xbox controller mode, it would not go to sleep properly. So I went and left the car at like 75% battery, and I got back at like 19% battery. But as soon as I switched it to Xbox mode, like I say, it normalized. No issues. And the battery became normal again. So I don't know. It just blows my mind. We'll play Agent Intercept from my Steam account before I go today. Download failed. Why did it fail? Maybe not. Again, it's funny. Worked fine for me the other day. And you can see we started with 99%. We're at 81% 2 hours later. Personally, I wouldn't consider that bad for a big 7-inch screen. I guess we're not going to play that. Let me see, can I play the corridor? That's just download task, maybe not there. Corridor. Check download resources. Failed to retrieve game config. But why? See, there is some strange things. It's almost like it's not recognizing my Wi-Fi. But it shows me platform 9 3/4. So should be good. Yes, I'm a nerd and called my Wi-Fi platform 9 3/4. But as far as controllers go, I mean, Ethan, somebody asked me in the comments on Monday's video if one of my buttons was getting stuck. I haven't had any button sticking issue. So physical controller issues, none. Again, this worked for me just fine the other day. Why is it not working for me now? I even completed like 3 races with this. But now I can't. Let's just try doing a reset. Sometimes devices need a restart. When in doubt, unplug it and plug it back in. And if you're, other than Ethan here, if you're here live right now, thank you for joining. I've been live for about 2 hours now. The whole stream, of course, will be live. So you're free to watch the whole thing back if you so wish. Oh, and it was you, JP Mauricio Mac. I did play Kid Icarus for a few minutes also, just so you know. So ran flawlessly, of course, NES, you would think it would. Looked really good. You can ask Ethan if he's still here. I know it's getting late for him. And Ethan says do a long-term review. Sorry, looking at these out of all sorts while I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, yeah, I mean, we can do another long-term review. The funny thing is that I did receive the I had gotten the AYN Odin 2 portal as a gift actually from work. So I didn't have to pay for it, but I got it for being the customer whisperer. Being the manager of the customer support team, I have a way of calming down angry customers so they don't cancel. So they nicknamed me the customer whisperer, and I got a recognition award out of it, and that was the Odin 2 portal. So that's the only other device besides my brick and soon to be other brick and soon to be other mystery device from Trim UI that I will receive at no cost to me. Thank you to Trim UI. They are awesome. And they agreed to send me my first review unit, the Trim UI brick hammer in green video on this channel as my first review unit when I only had about 100 subscribers. So I definitely want to thank them for being cognizant of that. And they looked at my videos and they saw promise in me, so they said that they would send me a review unit. And I'm going to get my second and third ones sooner rather than later. Third one I can't talk about because it's completely a new device, but the second device is another Trim UI brick hammer that I'll do probably just a single video on because I already have the full unboxing and review on 2 videos for. So I'll do another video, compare it to my green one. Obviously, it's still the same device overall, but I think that will be good enough for the brick hammer. And like I say, the third mystery device will be a net new device, so that will get the full unboxing and first impressions in one video and the review in a second video. So yeah, even a reset for some reason didn't work. I don't know why my Game Hub light is not working. So I'm not going to keep you guys here any longer. But thanks for joining, JP. My Kid Icarus skills are not that good. I died, but feel free to watch and laugh at me. And it is 9:18 p.m. Thai time, so I better join my wife and my 21-month-old son Dominic and help him unwind for bed because he likes to play with mom and dad before he goes to bed. But like I say, I'll do another live stream next week, so feel free to let me know any other games that you want to see. Next week we will do at least one of Ethan's other N64 requested games, either Star Wars Rogue Squad or Jet Force Gemini, and we'll do at least one, if not both, of Johnny Gamer 1969's requests, also for N64, Killer Instinct and Banjo-Kazooie. And I will do Kipka's request for Zombie U on the Wii U. And I will do my best to get Demon's Souls working on PS3 for Mauricio. We did also on this live stream get God of War working at 1080p and there for a while at 8x, but it was going a little bit too fast. Put it back down to 2.25x integer scale, which is 1080p, and it ran at 60 flawlessly. And I'm going to continue to try working on PS3 games, see if there's anything else I can figure out about how to get those to work. I only have about 20 gigabytes of my 1 terabyte card available. Oh, and I guess before I go, I started the stream with my Heligali Action Pi. Let's see here. Of course, this is going to take a moment, but before I go, we did Panzer Dragoon on the Heligali Action Pi, so let's end it the same way we started, but with the handheld of the week with the Pocket DS. Feel free to ask me some more questions if you're still there, and I'll answer them now or not. Yes, I'm a weirdo. I'm drinking coffee out of a tumbler at 9:20 at night. But that's because caffeine doesn't have any effect on me. I could go to my room right now and fall asleep. Sorry, whenever you have almost 50,000 games, a 1 terabyte card almost completely full, and most of them are older games, it takes ESDE a while to launch. So bear that in mind. If you want to have a 1 terabyte card, you can. But my recommendation would be to have bigger games on it so you can fill it up and not have to wait like forever for it to load like that. All right, so let's go back here, Sega Saturn, so we can end the way we started. I have a few Saturn games, as you can tell. Just a couple, not too many. That's why you fill up 1 terabyte cards pretty quick. Word to the wise. Panzer Dragoon. I think it's only fitting that since I was delayed in getting this game played for another subscriber from the action, he had asked during the Heligali Action Pie review video, and that was before I was doing live streams or anything, so I had forgotten to get back to it. I told him that I would. Why is it not wanting to work? Let me just try another Saturn game. Could be I'm being impatient. Could be. Let's just try other settings, alternative emulators. Again, bear in mind it's only showing the consoles that you actually have on your device. Let's try Genesis Plus GX. Oh, that's Sega CD. To quote Ralph, I am so smart. I am so smart. SMRT. I am so smart. All right, let's try Yaba Sanshiro. Well, the Heligali Action Pie wins for ease of use. Yes, next week we will get to that one, Ethan. My Sega Saturn cores do not appear to want to work. All right, let's come over here. Like I chose lava red as my background. Most people leave it at the blue one. I thought that it looks really cool having the gradient, which is funny because it looks like this is like orange on camera, but this looks like it's like a dark red in person. And then it goes like pink, like a darker red to like black. This looks like it's like orange to like pink to red to black. So it's funny how the camera sees things differently. All right. No, I do have it. Let me see if I can't do it this way. Trying to see if I load it manually, if it will load. I did test it. It works, Ethan. Unlike this one wanting to give me issues, which is funny because, like I say, it's the exact same ROM that works flawlessly on the Heligali Action Pie, which is why I give those Linux-based devices. It's based on Batocera, but that's why I give them a higher score for ease of use. Sometimes you have to think out of the box to get games to work on Android. Panzer. Huh. Apparently, it doesn't like this one like the other one does, so if you're ever curious, that is the name of the secret console for those that are uninitiated. because their owners are not always the most friendly to people that do what I do for you guys. One of the few people that are. It doesn't matter that they now have a secret console too, shall we say. They're still not happy with it being used. Heck, they've even complained about people streaming Wii games that in IP they own. And I don't understand. It's not like they're making any money on Wii today. But I don't want to push them. Maybe and do something with it. I don't know. I'll have to play around with it. I figured I tested it on the before I went live. I tested it on the Heligali, and the Heligali worked like a charm. This one, for some reason, no. I don't know. So I'm gonna have to dig in and figure out why it's not working on Android like it is on Batacera. But I'll get it and I'll figure it out. So next week I won't forget. We'll do another test of Panzer Dragoon, but on the DS. But let me know what other games you want to see. Like I say, I will be doing Banjo-Kazooie, Killer Instinct, Jet Force, Gemini, Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, and if I can get them to work, Zombie U from the Wii U and Demon Souls on the PS3. Again, if I can get them to work. And anything else you guys suggest. So let me know. My list is growing. I would love for it to be multiple pages. So that way I can then create a spreadsheet or whatever and say, okay, for higher end devices like this, here are some common games I should test. And I'll do one or two from different requesters. I mean, Ethan, you've requested the most, so I'd probably do the most for you. Probably like 2 on a high end, medium one, or a low end device. But you know, maybe Mauricio and Kipka, they've only requested 1 each. So I'll get to them next week and I'll probably put them on the list to always test on medium and high end hardware. Johnny Gamer, I'll probably put one of yours on there. And JP, if you're still here, J Pari Siomak, if you're still here, I mean, Kid Chris will work on any device, so you know I'm happy to test that on any device. But if you have any other suggestions, let me know. But anyways, I am going to sign off for tonight. Close it. Close the book that is this live stream because we're already now 2.5 hours. I do want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate you for taking time out of your day. If I can ever talk, that would be very beneficial. I do want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to watch the live stream. Whether you watched it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever, I appreciate you. I hope that you'll go back and watch the rest, maybe learn something, because again, I do try to include some things, and I think hopefully that I gave some good information to start with. For example, about how to get most of the ROM, get most of the emulators that you need. I can't tell you where to get ROMs, except for, you know, Google is a fantastic thing. If you know how to look for a ROM, it's always a good thing to look at internet, the archives on the internet for those types of things. But the important thing is know how to get your emulators and how to keep them up to date. And Obtainium is great for that. So that's why I showed that off earlier. And don't hesitate, ask me more questions. I'm still getting better at YouTube every day. As I mentioned, my first video was in May. So I've now been going at it for 6 months with the unboxing of the ROG Ally X being the first video that I ever recorded, first video that I ever edited in my entire life. I had never used editing software in my life until the ROG Ally X's unboxing video. And I've only done live streams now about a month, thanks to Ethan's suggestion. So I want to make this channel your channel, where you can see the games you want to see played. You can ask the questions you want asked to be answered. And again, if they're within the realm of my possibility of answering, I will, whether it's cryptic, like where to get your ROMs, or very direct. How do you get emulators and keep them up to date if they're not on the Google Play Store? Check out earlier this stream for that answer. And leave comments. Remember, the more comments you give during the live stream, more comments you give during the replay, the better. Give it a thumbs up. Share it with anyone else that might like handhelds. You know, maybe you know your older sibling and you used to play Super Nintendo. You got Super Mario World and you loved it, and you haven't played games since, and you say, hey, what about one of these guys? You know, you could get this, teach your kids about the games you grew up playing, and it can play Genshin Impact. It can play the other, what is it, Zenless Zero game. It can play really high-end Android games on here because it's full Android. But my version has 16 gigabytes of RAM. And again, if you want to see Android games on here, I have them on here, so we can play them next week. But I need to know what you guys want to see, because without you, there's no point to the channel. So make it about you and let me know what you want, and I'm here for you. Because remember, P-Nick in Thai, well, Nick is my first name. When you add P with an apostrophe or P with a space, you see it both ways in Thailand. But if you add P in front of someone's name, it's a respectful way to say big brother. Right? So if you go to my blog, for example, you'll see P-Nick's, your big brother's blog or whatever. That's why, because P-Nick means big brother Nick's handhelds. And that's kind of the idea, is I want to be like your big brother that maybe has access to these handhelds and you didn't have access to them before, so you can learn about them through me, whether it's through my scheduled, unscripted unboxings, because that's what I try to do with my unboxings. So if they seem a little chaotic, I'm sorry. Same thing with my live stream, but this is never edited. So if you want to see the true raw Nick, live stream is the way to go. But the unboxings, they might seem a little jumpy, and that's because, yes, I edit it, but it's all in one take. I don't turn off the camera until I finish the video. And once I turn off the video, I don't go back and create new content. I might write something on the screen for you that says, like if I said fast charging 52 watts and it's fast charging 25 watts, I'll put, you know, asterisk, asterisk, 25 watts if I said 52, you know, so that way you can see I made a mistake. But that's the idea of the unboxing, is that it's the raw first experience with the device. I don't want it to be scripted. And now, if you guys want it to be scripted, then I'm willing to change. But as of today, I don't want that to be scripted. I want it to be my true experiences with it whenever I first turn it on. Again, Linux devices, I can test devices. But so you have that, and then you have my live streams for the device of the week, which of course I unboxed on Monday. So on Wednesdays, I do that. I'm hoping to continue this on Wednesday nights, but if depending on my work schedule, it may change to be Wednesday mornings Thai time, which would be possibly Tuesday nights for you, but I'll let you guys know before that changes. Just depends on work. But that's going to be raw me. I'm not going to be scripting it. I'm just talking to you, reading your comments as I go, and testing out the device. And if I think of something that I want to make sure you know how to do, like Obtainium, I'll do it so you can see little tips and tricks on using these devices. And then Friday, of course, is scripted. I will usually spend 3 to 4 hours scripting it, to be 100% frank with you. And when I'm scripting it, I'm not reverse engineering the score. By that I mean, I'm not saying I want this device to be a 60 overall. How do I get there? Okay, well, for value, I want to give it this, and you know, and try to reverse a 60. No, I have never done that, and I never will do that. When I'm scripting it, I strictly go from the same order that I do my video in, and then I calculate the average, and that's your overall score. I never proactively try to create that. Some reviewers will do that. In their minds, it makes sense. If they have a scoring system, whether it's an A tier, S tier, or like me, 0 to 69, or 0 to 100, 1 to 100, whatever their system is, some of them will reverse engineer their score and say, this is where I want to end up. How do I get there? And they finagle their numbers to get to that point. Again, I will never do that. I spend 3-4 hours making sure I get to where I want to be as far as the structure of it, the flow of it. And sometimes, sadly, I'm tired from work because, you know, full-time job and full-time father and full-time husband. But either way, I will stay up and editing. Sometimes I stay up and edit and upload into YouTube at 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. in that ballpark. Either Wednesday night or Thursday night before, now Thursday night. And then it goes live on Friday. But like I say, it's always I talk my way through the unboxing experience. I talk my way through the specs on the script, talk my way through the first impressions, and I give all of those a rating. And then I calculate what the average is. So if it seems like I might have reverse engineered my score, I can assure you I never have and never will reverse engineer a score. It's just my honest opinion of each category as I go. And then the score is determined. And then I look back at my notes and highlight my talking points to come up with my top pros and my top cons. What did I mention the most in my notes? What for the top pros and cons? Or if it didn't mention it enough, but it is true, maybe, I mentioned something that's a pro, or maybe I didn't mention enough of the screens, but the screens are lovely. So I'll make sure that I bring that up during my pros and cons. And then I tried to work out the personas. And for example, I work for a language learning platform, and we have personas like Love Language Luca, Passionate Prayush, that he wants to become a polyglot. So what we do is we create the kind of the title of this person, this persona, and then we describe that persona, and that tells you who we're aiming it for. So that's why I do the same thing for mine, the top 2 personas that I would recommend the device for, and the top 2 that I would say should skip it. For example, this, obviously, the budget-minded buyer should swim away from this guy because it starts at $400 US, fully loaded, special edition gray one like I have, $630 US, way too much for budget Bob. Maybe a budget-minded Bob. Maybe that's what I'll call that persona and readapt it to be like my work and give them personal names. And high-end Hugh, high-end Hugh, something like that. But yeah, so that's how it all works behind the scenes if you don't know. And like I say, work a full-time job, 9:30 to 6, Monday through Friday. And the full-time father, full-time husband. And then, like say, on Thursdays, for example, I'm not done editing until 1 to 4 o'clock in the morning, depending on how quickly I could script the writing after I got off work, and then all of that. So it's a lot of work, but it's something I love doing for you guys. And I know I said I was going to go, and it's been another 40 minutes. So if you're still here, thank you. I know I'm crazy and I'm rambling, but I think it's good to know the behind the scenes, that sometimes you just see a video and you take it for granted. Especially for somebody that's new, somebody that does it alone, because he's still a small YouTuber. Yeah, I know. I think it's incredible that I have 3,500 subscribers. And 2 weeks ago, before the Thor came out, I was at 250. It blows my mind, and I am so grateful that you guys are here supporting me. So please continue to support me. Soon I will qualify for Super Chats. So if you want to support me, I'd appreciate it whenever I can qualify for Super Chats. My blog, there is no subscription cost, but this is my shout out to you. Subscribe here, go to phoenixhandhelds.com. On the main page, there's a sign up towards the top. That's part of like about right here. Click on that. Okay? Click on it. You'll never get a newsletter from me. I'll never sell your information. There'll never be a paid membership on the website. Okay? I wanted it to be about the forum, but the forum never took off. I wanted to write blog posts all the time, but honestly, I just got myself burned out. But the reason I want you to click on that is I give member giveaways. Tomorrow, I'm going to be drawing for Friday's video for the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I just gave away a coffee mug, and I'll be honest, I had these custom made, but to have it shipped to the winner in Switzerland was the cost of buying 5 more of these and having one of them shipped to Switzerland. So I chose, because I have darker colors for this person, and he's one of the original members or subscribers, to have a all black coffee mug. I think it will look really sharp with this. And he's promised once he gets it to either take a picture of it on his desk or whatnot, and I'll include that in a video whenever he gets it. But you can get a coffee mug. You can get a desk mat. The first winner chose this. And it's really good quality. You choose the size you want for your desk. So know how big of a length and width you want. Length and width. And I'll tell you the sizes that are available, and you can choose what you want, and I'll have it shipped to your house. Like say this is printed on, whereas my original one was like a sticker. I actually have the original one right here. This is like a sticker. This is printed on where it's not coming off. So I'll get you one of these if you want this, if you win. The coffee mug, you can get one of these. It's a little wooden box. Inside of it is a USB flash drive. One side is USB-A, one is USB-C, and I believe it's either 128 or 256 gigabyte, and it also has a PNX controller part of my logo on it. You get that for free shipped to you. Or what was the other thing? I don't remember. But whoever wins it, and I send it to you. And if you have to pay import taxes, tariffs, send me a copy of your tariff bill, and I'll PayPal you the difference if that's what you want. But we had 100 subscriber giveaway. We just did 500 last Friday, and this Friday will be 1,000. The following week will be 1,000, 2,000. The following week will be 3,000. If I get to 4,000 by then by the time that following week gets there again, I'll do a 4,000 subscriber giveaway, and so on and so on. But I can only do it if you subscribe through the website and my YouTube channel, of course, because I need a way to be able to communicate with you directly. And by subscribing, you're giving me your email. So if you win, I can shoot you an email and say, hey, it's PNIC. You won the subscriber giveaway. And I'm sorry if you could hear the burp there. I drank a little too much coffee too quickly. You won. Here's a reminder. Here are the gifts. Which one would you like? And what address should I send it to? And who should I make it out to? But I try to do those before, obviously. Like I can't record it live, and when my video goes live. I could do it on a Wednesday live stream. So maybe in the future I change it to Wednesday live streams. But either way, I'm going to give the person that wins time to respond. But the only caveat is if you win, you don't qualify for the next 3 drawings, but it's every 1,000 subscribers. So the guy that won the 100 subscriber count will not qualify for the 500, the 1,000, or the 2,000, but on the 3,000 giveaway in 3 weeks from now, he can win again. And the guy that won at 500 can qualify on the 4,000 subscriber giveaway. So I'm not going to say you can't win again. You can absolutely win again. And there's no cost to you. It's my way of saying thank you. And heck, if you win, you could say, you know what, pay it forward and draw again. That's what you want to do. That's on you. But I can only do it if I have your details. So when I do it, I look at your email and I check that against the subscribers on YouTube. And if I see you, then I'm able to add you to the wheel of giveaways. And as you saw last time, there was only, I think, 12 or 13 people on that wheel of spin. So out of 500 subscribers, that's kind of sad in my opinion. Yeah, like say I could change it up to do it on the live stream. Have the wheel ready to go. Of course, I'll have to figure out how to share my screen during the live stream to make it fair so you can see. the wheel spinning and know that I am justly picking that person. But I'm happy to figure that out. Because again, live streams was my first videos, the first live stream ever too. So we'll get it figured out. It might take a little bit, no big deal. But we can do it during live streams too. But anyways, I've jibber jabbered on long enough. Ethan, you've been up way too late, so I appreciate you, buddy. I am going to end this live stream. But again, I want to thank you all for watching, and let me know if you need anything. And until next time.